Okay, so what just hit home for me, in a subtle way, not in a big way, is the understanding of reality, that reality is a holographic projection. And what, I mean, this is a knowing, because it's quantum physics, and this is a knowing that was just like timelines, that's been in my field. Like, yeah, this is how, reality uh, uh, forms. There are principles within the formation of experience of reality that are the parallel universes, the different timelines, the dimensional frequential aspect of how we dial ourselves in physically through our vibration into the different frequencies, which then again um, pertains to how we experience life. And then there is this whole notion that the whole understanding of the holographic universe. Also, this is a scientific subject, and I believe there is a book called with the same name, The Holographic Universe, and I think it might even be the author Fritjof Capra, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look any of this up. This is totally spontaneous as usual. Um, but what I got for the first time, because what I'm still very much subject to, and this was shown to me again yesterday when I was watching a series, and I saw very pleasant series, and I saw a bird in a cage, and then that triggered um, my mind serving up to me animals in cages, the sadness of it, and having an effect on my frequency, and I was watching this. And then also when I hear chainsaws, I live pretty much I do live in the middle of a city, but it's a small city, so it's more like maybe a big town or a small city. Um, but I live in the middle of it, and there's a lot of chainsaw noise. I mean, for me, relative. There's a lot of chainsaw noise. And it used to be that I would wake up and my heart would be beating because I would be worried that they'd be cutting down another tree, because since I moved in here about 6 years ago, they cut down so many trees just in the two blocks, that the block I'm living on and the next block. So it was like, oh my God, I hope they're not cutting down another tree. And then the nervous system, as soon when I hear the chainsaw, has that reaction. And over time, I had to work with this, because yeah, it this is how life comes and knocks on your door. This is how the triggers come. And it doesn't matter, like me, being 99% of the time alone, the triggers come. You don't have to be in interaction with other people, or even seeking interaction with other people, in order to have you know um, in order to have, like, to be able to have your buttons pushed, because life will find all kinds of ways to come to you, because it's an energy that's already within you. It's a belief about the world. It's an energy that's in you, and when you're ready to be present with it, when you're ready to bring it back home and to receive the charge back home, to neutralize that energy from being in the negative and vibrating in the reverse, it will come. The trigger will come. Like I said in my video yesterday, the triggers will deliver those aspects of you that are still in the charge, in the reverse charge. Well, charge is always reverse because it's a compression. And then you have the opportunity to pick it up. Whether you pick it up or whether you go into the reaction mode of it, when you pick them up, you pick them up through taking the physical perspective of your soul. That means you abide in your soul. That means divine neutrality. That means you are simply present with it. You observe it. You observe the feelings, your reaction in your body. That's how you pick them up and you receive them back home. If you ever go into the reaction of it, of, oh no, they're doing this again, and oh, this is a bad thing, and oh, this is a terrible thing, and it will bring down your, it will again, instead of taking that opportunity of dissolving it within you, it will make it more. It will create more charge. It will feed that lower vibration within you, and it will keep you dialed into the lower vibrational timeline, and it will bring it back to you. You know, it will keep bringing more and more of that back to you. And so what I got now was, okay, the world, because there has always been in my consciousness this wanting to save the world, wanting to, because I see all the suffering, you know, I mean, I see the, and it was, especially as a child, it was the suffering of the animals, and I wanted that to go away, and that's only natural, you know. You want the suffering to go away. You want to heal it. You want to see happy, you know, animals and happy people, and you want to see healthy nature, and this is only natural. And yet when I observe myself, what happens is, when I see the suffering, or when I see what's wrong with the world, you know, how um, how people are working against nature and against their own nature, how they are destroying chi, you know, life force, instead of working with nature and building chi, you know, which is well-being. So they're like destroying their own well-being at the same time. And um, when this is witnessed, okay, this is the key. This is what is so important. We want to build a better world. We want to end the suffering. We want to see and live in paradise. How do we do that? We can't do that when we let what we see, that which is not paradise yet, you know, when we see the suffering, when we let that drag us down, and when we go into reaction of it, and when we go into judgment of it. So we go into judgment of it, like Ajahn Shanti once said, um, love the trees but don't hate the loggers, you know. And it's like, whoa, but it's only natural to not like and to judge that which is going against life, going against humanity, going against humaneness, going against love, going against yeah, life, really, you know, like destruction. um, and you know, a compost heap, that is not destruction, you know, that's part of life. That's not destruction. Destruction is, that is what is in reversal. That is the evil, which is not love. Love is our natural flow. Love is our natural state of being. And then the reverse goes into evil, which is the destruction, you know, which is creating suffering. Okay, so I'm using these words to describe this. um, so when we witness that, we would say, from a human 3D, even, or you know, organic 3D human standpoint, but also from the reverse. But I think, okay, let's not get into that, because that's the structural system. But from the heart, on the level of, through the structure, through the filter of the human 3D, you would say, you would say, we have to fight, we have to stop them. Okay, it's not about not stopping what is wrong. It's not about that. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, well, I'm going to explain all of this. Because what we want to create, as I said, create from love, and we want to create paradise. We want to create well-being for everyone. Yeah, exactly. Fairness, well-being, joy, abundance, paradise. And we want to stop evil, and we want to stop the suffering. We want to end the suffering. Um, the way to do that, this is so key. We cannot do that if we go into reaction of it. And that reaction and that judgment is coming from charge within us, is coming from compression within us that is also in the reverse, and that is also suffering. We go into resonance with that, and that's where the judgment comes from. And when we go into the judgment, and we are then taking the stance of they are evil and we are the victims of their evil, or they are bad and there are others that are victims of them, and we are going into compassion with that's okay. To be in compassion doesn't mean to be in judgment. That's again very different. Even though it seems to be completely, it is entangled in the 3D. It is entangled when we still see it purely from the identification with the human self. That's natural to say, to be in judgment of that, absolutely. And to be in judgment of that doesn't mean to call it by its name, doesn't mean not to say that's bad and that's evil. Um, and if there's a way, what can we do to stop it? Of course, if there's an immediate way, we will naturally act in a way to stop it. If that's within our, what's in front of us to do, if that's in the natural flow for us to do, we will do that. But if we want to create a better world, we cannot be in judgment. Judgment is a vibration. Judgment is a stance of consciousness, and is a feeling that we have, and it is coming from separation from the soul, separation from God, because our soul does not judge. And if we want to create a world free from suffering, that is fair, and where everyone thrives, everyone, and that includes nature and animals. That doesn't include mosquitoes, for example. That's different. But still, I don't hate mosquitoes, even though I kill them. I would kill them if I have had a chance, because I wouldn't want to be bitten, and I have no problem with that. I mean, when a horse, goes like this, it would also kill a mosquito. It's not, and even the natural, predators and prey, there's no hate there. There's no judgment there, even. Yeah? There's not, I hate them, or, oh, those, bad word, they're coming to get us. It's the natural way of things. It's just the natural order, and that's different um, from judgment. So it's a holographic reality. The reason why things show up is what I talk about, is so that, because that's the stage we're in now. We're not in the stage anymore of going into, away from consciousness, awareness, away from, awake consciousness. That's what I mean. Awake consciousness, away from the center, from our hearts, away from our souls. We're not anymore in that process of closing down. We've left that process. We've gone through that process. Now we're collectively in the process of waking up, in the process of coming back home, in the process of opening our hearts again after being hurt. And what we encounter in this holographic projection is what we also hold within us. So when we hold a duality within us, where we are set, where we sense, we are under the impression of separation from who we really are, under the impression of a false self, and that has a certain vibration, that has a certain code. That code, that feeling will be triggered. It will encounter exactly in the world, or it will come to you, that will trigger that exact feeling of that aspect of you that is still in that illusion, in that impression of being alone in the world, of having this identity completely identified with the physical body and the story of what was recorded, the story of the conditioned mind, the story of the egoic mind. How we create a better world is not in fighting against, is not in judging what is wrong and what is evil. I'm just going to keep it real simple now, okay? That is only going to add to it, because it's feeding it. It's going into, picking up the ball and keeping the ball rolling, keeping the ball in the field. And that is keeping us locked into a lower frequential timeline, a lower frequential reality, experience, and world. It is not about, because this is the 3D way of thinking, that we have to put, what is it, grease, nose to the grindstone, grease um, with muscles, with a lot of effort. We have to go out there and fight, and it's all a physical thing. It's all a physical thing to change the world and create paradise. When the greatest power that we have, the greatest, what is it called, when you have a long, the longer the handle, the less actually, okay, so this is an image. So you have a very heavy thing here to lift, and the longer the handle, the less, so you can see it, go from here. Here you need a lot of strength to pull it down in order to lift this up, right? But when you have a longer handle, you need less strength to lift this up. So what is the longest handle power that we have, where we need, the optimum, where we need the least strength, effort to create the biggest transformation, the biggest outcome, the biggest positive outcome, to lift a very heavy thing. And that is not in the physical world. That is actually not the physical action. That comes after. The physical action comes after our consciousness, after our vibration, after we take that conscious stance. Am I going to go into reaction here, and then I'm locked into the 3D, and I'll create more of that? Am I going to go into judgment here? Oh, okay, I'm feeding this, actually, to be aware of this. Or do I actually want to change it? If I want to change what I see, I need to take care of how I feel inside. I need to take care of where's my perspective coming from, and I need to take care of my vibration, because if I'm in the truth in my true being, if I'm coming from my true being, from my soul, that consciousness will have the knowing, it will take into account, it will have the knowing of that the world is a holographic projection for us to play in, for us to become aware of ourselves, to embody our highest aspects, our highest vibrational frequencies possible, to embody our soul, to bring in the most possible, broadest spectrum of consciousness here into the physical. That's what that platform is all about. And then have the experience to experience who I am, and then to be able to play with that. So it is paramount that we are aware when we get triggered. Are we going into reaction? Are we judging? And thereby locking ourselves into that reality where that suffering exists. And we are, in that sense, or yeah, in that way, we are actually holding on to that reality where that suffering exists. Not just for our own perspective, but for everyone involved, everything that we see. Do we want to do that? No, that's exactly what we don't want to do. We see what we do not prefer. We want to make a choice. We want to create a life. We want to create reality into what we do enjoy, what we do love, what we do prefer. Okay, so we want to create a reality where we don't see suffering. We see joy, abundance, thriving life, yeah, paradise. In every moment then that we get triggered, that our judgment gets triggered, that our duality gets triggered, um, that we feel sad about something that we see, very important. Okay, this doesn't mean pushing away the sadness. This doesn't mean pushing away the energy that comes up with judgment. So when I say, oh, what a da 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 that is, like I have a judgment against this person because of what they did or what I just witnessed, or this person is this and that. Okay, oh, okay, notice the judgment, but don't push it away. Go instantly into, where is that, that, because that judgment has a vibration in the body. So notice that vibration in the body, exactly, and know that your consciousness created for you to witness this, so that you could get in touch with that vibration that you're feeling now, that is the representative, vibrational representative in your body of that judgment. Okay? Because by then being the witness of that judgment, being the space for that judgment, that's a negative emotion, a negative emotional reaction. Negative only means it's compressed. It's not flowing in the organic, in the love stream. It's not flowing in the expansion or the neutral. It's not neutral that then expands from having been compressed, because expansion can only happen when there was compression before, obviously, Um, why is that obviously? Well, when it was denser before, when it was denser, then from that relation to what it was before, it's now going apart. So it's expanding from being like this. There's a movement, exactly. And when we are the witness, when we perceive, you know, you can't be the witness when you have your focus on the outside. What I mean is you are the witness to what is happening within you. So you are the witness to, okay, the thoughts in my mind, absolutely justified. Yeah, no problem. This is not what it's about. Go into the body, go into the energy of the body. Because the thoughts are just the thought representation of that charge, of that emotion that has been held down in the compression or in the reverse from being in its organic expansive flow, or in its organic flow that is aligned with source code, that is aligned with the soul, that is aware of what life truly is, and sees it with a different perspective, with a different filter, and has then, seeing it through that perspective and that filter, has so much of a higher vibration. If it would be purely that, if there wouldn't be any more charge within you, you would never witness anything like that anymore. That's that's also magical in this, if you see how this all works. It's really so amazing, when you realize that, because that's when you realize how the universe is a holographic projection of your mind. And of course, your mind here is a vessel, and it's a small portal, it's a small vessel, but it's just, it continues to have access and be connected to greater and greater and greater aspects of you, and that is also greater and greater spectrum of mind that entails many other fractals of your own soul, all within one mind, all the way up to all that is, to God's mind. And that's the source code flowing through. But how much of that is coming through? How much of that is being let through the filter? Um, and through the vibration. So we pull ourselves, we have said, okay, I saw this. All right, I got the trigger. This triggered me. And there's nothing wrong with, on this level of existence, with the judgment that I'm having. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's justified, and that's okay. But do I want to, if I stay there, that's it, that's the end of it, then I lock myself in and I create more of that for not just for me, but for the collective as well. Then I am not creating paradise, and I am not creating what I prefer. I'm creating more of what I don't like, so I go and instantly connect with that energy, that witnessing that triggered within me, and I witness that. I witness the energy within me, the feeling, witness the feeling. Why not, while not going into reaction, whatever mental reaction I have going on, I just witness that as well. I don't go in reaction to that and shame myself for having that. And then I remember that this is a holographic reality. And I remember that, oh, the way that I create the end of suffering, the transformation of this, the reality I prefer, is that I fully receive the reaction that I just am feeling and that I'm just witnessing within myself. And as I'm receiving this, as I'm feeling this, I cannot at the same time be spinning and reinforcing it in my mind, because then I would be believing from that level. Then I would be locking myself in. But I already know more than that. I know better than that. I know I am not um, this closed identity. I am not. Um, what the egoic mind tells me that I am, you know, and that's the mind that goes into reaction. I am soul, and my soul knows this is a holographic projection, even though I don't, you know, and it all depends on if we understand this. We understand because there has to be a resonance there, and it trickles in, and that's how once we have the first clue, once we have the first resonance and the first understanding, it turns into understanding. And then we can always remember that in every moment that we are triggered. And we can then remember and know that the strongest power we have, so with the least, because it doesn't take much, it just takes that. It just takes that going within and feeling and being present. Because this being present is the neutral awareness that is present with what is, with the thoughts and feelings. And that is how I transform what I just witnessed. Literally, that's how it works.